Good morning, everyone, and happy Hump Day, December 14th, 2022. Wowza. When I turned on my computer, it was 3:39 Eastern Time. When he wants me up, sometimes it's quite abruptly how I'm awoken up. A shot of pain, nausea, you name it. Well, this morning I've got my a heating pad wrapped around my right side because the pain that I'm having that's up over like on my right side is pretty painful. So I decided to get up and make myself a glass of chicken broth because that's my wonder drug from heaven. Can't lose your saltiness. Load up. So as I'm drinking it and trying to get to the source of where the pain is at, because like anyone that's gone to a massage therapist, what do they do when they find a knot in you? They just keep pushing on it, and eventually the pain goes away. So that's what I keep doing, but not before I took some RSO, which I just took a few minutes ago. I prefer to consult this doctor instead of man. Remember, I took an oath under God, so I consult him first. Well, first and foremost. Man, I'm going to leave that one in the dust because I can sift through their science and make decisions based on the science that is worthy of utilizing for my own personal health. Let's talk about the flu. Boy, it's on the rampage. It's kind of funny how their so-called tyrant regime, that's my own term for them, just feeds that little gem out there. They all have to have the same script to follow. So now you're going to have the outbreak of flu, and I've already seen that. I don't have to watch the news. So it's kind of funny when you flick the switch off to man's world and you flick the switch on full time to him. Just how your life just falls into place. You have joy every day, rain or shine. But on those sunny days, you want to soak it in. You want to get out there, feel that sun baking on your face, something that I've done a lot of my entire life. And it's funny when you do that for your life, whether it be in a tanning bed or laying out in the sun or both, how those people want to tell you about your body. Really? Well, you keep believing, man, remember, lights out. That's the way I look at it. Lights out, Open the mind. Best way for me to describe it. You shut off man's world, break free of the chains, and you start focusing in your brain on what he wants you to focus on. Start talking to him. He'll tell you. Or he'll wake you up like me with some pretty awful pain. The pain was so severe, I decided, let's just see where my blood pressure is. Because I just drank chicken broth. Now, that chicken broth that I just drank did not affect my blood pressure. It's not going to work that fast. So I decided to take it right after I drank it. It's 154 for 99. Now, most people get all worked up and all upset over that. And I just look at it and I go, well, yep, that about goes with it. As your pain elevates, your blood pressure goes up. Yep. Did I have a little chest pain? Yeah, mildly. But it's on my right side. And that little pain that I was pushing on is moving. Because what once was here, it's moving up here. So it's starting to move. So I'm attacking that pain head on. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do with this ongoing man's world and their tyrant regime. You have to attack it head on. No matter how harsh your words are. You have to be abrupt. You have to be direct. Because after taking that oath under God, I didn't take that oath lightly. Just saying, I can't. When I take oaths, they mean something to me. Unfortunately, those men, and there are women too, that have taken these oaths aren't walking around in sunshine. No, no. They've gone to the dark side. Oh boy, and they've gone to the dark side. Full force. Some have already sold their souls to the devil. So they try to make us shining in the light, trying to save them from the highway to hell. They try to make our lives a living hell. Well, I don't tolerate that. I didn't choose hell, nor am I going down that path. I lived there long enough. When I was in man's world, working 7 days a week, supporting a taxation system that is as corrupt as the day is long. Heck, we learned that in tax school. I just had to figure out a way out. I didn't know I was going to end up with blood clots in my brain in 2020 after being told in 2019 with a healthy heart I'll have congestive heart failure when I woke up in the hospital on April 15th of 2019. Still having tax clients blowing up my cell phone when the doctors took it away from me, including my computer. So at one point, some doctors were looking out for me. And I do have some on my path that did look out for me. But again, at the end of the day, what were they prescribing? Poison pills, which is not going to be fruitful for my body. And it shouldn't be fruitful for anyone's body, because anything that's been altered has been altered chemically. All you got to do is read the labels. Every time I look at soy lectin now, I think of sludge. Do I want sludge in my body? No. Sludge is to be expunged as waste. It doesn't belong. I don't need chemically treated anything in my body. I prefer to buy it in its whole source and then marry foods together like a symphony. Unlike this tyrant regime that keeps increasing the level of poison, because those of us walking in the light aren't being affected by it. And if we are, some way, somehow, he makes sure we use the tools necessary including the Bible, my personal favorite, the Geneva 1560 version, to think for ourselves. And that's exactly what Natalie has always done her whole life. I was just programmed to do taxes. Well, I'm not programmed to do those anymore. I'm programmed to shed the light in the dark. That's my job now. My full-time job is to him. Anything else is a complete waste of my time. So bringing out the truth is my number one goal. Because what would Jesus do? Bring out the truth. And he didn't have a lot of people that liked him either. Read up in your Bible. Google it. But once you Google it, you need to go to a version of the Bible that's accurate. Because I have found lots of scriptures online that are just not quite up to par or not even close to what's written in my 1560 Geneva Bible. So why do I love that Bible? Because to me, it's more truthful than the King James Version, which is was always my go-to. The 1560 version spells book B-O-K-E. Now, according to my calculations, reading in Revelation, you're not to add to or subtract from his scriptures. I would think that that would mean you shouldn't be altering them in multiple versions either. At least that's the way I'm reading that. Now, maybe you're reading it in a different light. That'd be man's world in the darkness. Maybe you need to flick that switch off too. Break free of those chains, free up your mind, so that you too can see the light. As much pain as I'm in right now, I'm just climbing up another rung of that ladder to heaven. Because my goal is to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. And that's not going to come from man. That's going to come from him. So those that want to throw stones, I might suggest you go look at yourself in a full-length mirror. Have you been taking care of your vessel? Or are you going to use man's world as an excuse? Do you think that using man's world as an excuse at Judgment Day is going to open up those pearly gates, golden gates? Think again. We're all deceived. But it's up to you to free your mind. It's up to you to stop using man's titles of illnesses as an excuse of why your body is in the state that it's in. Or your drunkenness, or your overeating, or your gluttony. The list is endless of the commandments that have been broken. Can you look in that full-length mirror and say, you know 100% you're going to heaven? I can. Now I know he makes the final say, but I'm not laying my treasures on earth. Oh no, not anymore. I'm laying them in heaven. You know, this YouTube channel was started in August of 2021. And originally, I started it because I wanted my Princess Harley to live. And I got 9 more months out of her because I decided if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to make a call to Jesus. And if I call Jesus and I have others, every time they hit his YouTube channel, they're phoning home. Because that's where my destiny is. It's certainly not down there. I lived in hell long enough, living in Elkhart. And you know, it breaks my heart, the city with a heart, to see the darkness present there. When you travel all over and people you meet, and you always want to know where they're from, and you tell them where you're from, and you tell them Elkhart, they kind of look at you. And some of them know about Elkhart, but not our motto, City with a Heart. Oh no, instead they've enlightened me with some different descriptions, not so pleasant ones. And what is disturbing is the residents there know about it, but nobody's doing anything about it. The one description of Elkhart I heard while living there were 2. Little Chicago and RV capital of the world. Now, we all know what's going on in Chicago. It's not so good and it's pretty darn dark. Although Hannah and I going through there never met so many lovely people. They lit up the path the whole way. I never felt so much love in my life than downtown Chicago, including from Mark, Mr. Policeman. That couple that helped me with the luggage, our driver Les, all of them, everyone, even the conductors. I can't remember all your names, but they all lit our path blazing through because they're on the same road that I'm on, the narrow path home. We're not taking the highway to hell. We're taking the narrow path. And it's going to be work. And we know it's going to be work. We're not willing to throw in the towel. We're willing to fight. Fight tooth and nail. So let's get back to these little descriptions of Elkhart. So the RV capital of the world and Little Chicago. Well, arriving in the Florida Keys last year, February 2021, it's pretty amazing how when you tell somebody else where you're from, oh, Elkhart, that's the meth capital of the world. I heard that little gem, Big Pine Key. My fun little chiropractor, although he's not little, he's a big guy. Super fun guy. Very inspirational. Always has some words of wisdom put on his little chalkboard outside his office. I always look forward to that. So when you hear that, it just is disturbing because when I told him it's known as the city with a heart, he'd never heard that before. heartbreaking. So then you take the journey in your homelessness, mind you, back home. Start collecting things for him. Because on that path of road to heaven, that ladder is going to have some pretty amazing steps. And taking that oath, that Key West courtroom was the icing on the cake. Whole way there, I just sat there waiting, like, how's this going to work out? And once I took that oath, it was beyond lights out to man's world. Because there's a new sheriff in town. And he's sitting on his throne. And I am not going to disappoint him. Man can kiss my tail end and the horse they rode in on. Because I am sick and tired of their BS. Their biblical stupidity is on steroids. So when you take an oath, it means something, and you want justice, just as he would, just as he wants. That's our duty to serve him. And it's crystal clear if you bother to open up your Bibles and look at them. And I know a lot of you out there are on the same bus that I am. Well, giddy up. Lord, let's ride. Say it every day. So when you blaze a trail through states, and you're welcomed with open arms, and then you reach your beloved state of Indiana, and it is a sad sack of potatoes, as if tumbleweed should be rolling down the street. Welcome to Indiana. It almost made me want to vomit. And it almost brought me to tears. That the beloved state that I grew up in has not adhered to cleanliness is next to godliness. No, instead, they'd rather make it look like a ghost town while they're collecting all the monies from the corruption. You know, after my research of the states with the highest revenues based on sin, and my home state of Indiana, the Hoosier state in the Bible Belt, makes more money than Sin City. That tells a story. Oh boy, does it tell a story. It even tells a bigger story when you're friends with the sheriff. And they've sent him private messages through Facebook Messenger about his duty to serve under God and that oath he took. What do you suppose that one did? He ran. Blocked and deleted me on Facebook. Don't want to hear the truth. You know what's funny? When you meet these judges, attorneys, sheriffs, law enforcement, etc., in man's world, and how they try to butter you up thinking that you are stupid into believing their bloody nonsense. I've done my research. I've done my homework extensively, and I continue to do it daily. I take small little intermissions watching a movie or something so that I can take a nap. Because sometimes my adrenaline is raging so high that Hannah has now chimed in and starts whining at me to slow down. You're on beach time. And oh, while you're at it, I'm going to climb up on your lap and squeeze more of the edema and the stress of man's world out of you. She gets it. So when you blaze a trail to your hometown and you've utilized rest area bathrooms to take a spit bath, it's amazing how much healthier my skin is. Not taking showers every day, but that's what man wants you to do. Now, granted, if I'm sweating, yeah, you need a shower. But when you're not sweating, showers every day are, first of all, a lot of waste of money. A waste of resources when you don't really need to. At least personally, that's my position I'm going to take after using rest area bathrooms. And all you need is soap and water to clean the areas that are necessary. So the first rest area bathroom that I walked into that was not up to par was in my home state of Indiana. And that was state number 7. I walked in and it was a disgrace. I shook my head. I said, Lord, you see this? This is not okay. And I've been in some beautiful rest area bathrooms along my trip. One of us helped me find a hotel that was a gift because my body in the afternoon was shutting down and needed a rest. So when you're on this mission trip with your beloved Queen Bee, Hannah Grace, you see things that others don't see. You see things that others don't want to see. And you know when you take that oath of your duty to serve, you want to enlighten those that are on that highway to hell. And you pray that they see the light. They repent and they're obedient before it's too late. But you can't dwell on the decisions that others make. You have to accept their decision and you move on. You don't take up residence in the past. God put eyes on your face to continue to look forward, not look back. Little gem came from a guy that I used to date. He kind of stuck. So when you blaze a trail to Elkhart, your hometown, the city with a heart, you don't forget all those different descriptions to hear along the way, including from the residents that live there still to this day. You drive in with your eyes wide open in a different light. I'm on the road to Jesus, for Jesus, with God leading the pack. There are religions out there that say they're one and the same. Well, seriously? Think while he was on the cross, Father, why have you forsaken me? I believe that's what he said, or something to that effect. It was one and the same? No. So when you blaze into Elkhart, your eyes are wide open. And mine were wide open when I started unpacking my wardrobe from Elkhart and the sea of black that I had, that I looked at and I said, oh no, not today, not ever again. I picked 3 of my favorite black shirts, and the rest I either gave away or donated. So when you blaze into Elkhart and you see nothing's changed, only it's gotten worse, and you hear from yet another resident of Indiana, still lives there, and lives in drunkenness most of the time, that Elkhart is the devil. And then you blaze a trail through 2 states. And along that blazing trail through 2 states, you hear yet another description of your beloved hometown that you love, despite the darkness, because it's where you were born and raised. When I heard them call Elkhart Hellcart, I understood the magnitude of what I wasn't seeing when I lived there. The paper trail is there. All you have to do is see. When you open up a closet of a residence, and it looked like my closet, it's a sea of black. It's time for you to put some color in your wardrobe, don't you think? Well, I love black. Yeah, I did too. When I lived in Elkhart. When I lived in the darkness. But I don't live in the dark anymore. I live in the light. I live in the light every day. It doesn't matter how gloomy it is outside. It never affects me because there's a reason. It's not to be complaining about it. You embrace it. It's part of life. Why you suppose it's gloomy out there? Think about it. Have a discussion with him. Have a discussion with Jesus. It's your choice. It's all your choices, just like it is put another black shirt on with some blue jeans, or black shirt with black pants, or black dress. I was in mourning for my life when I lived in Elkhart, and I didn't even realize it till I moved to the Florida Keys, the magnitude of it. So to hear that last description, Hellcart, K-A-R-T, reminds me of the go-kart races they just brought back. Let's bring some more revenue to another suburb of Sin City. Best way for me to describe it, since the revenues in Indiana are higher than Sin City. And then let's just add another little factoid. When you go to the Secretary of State Indiana Business website and do a business entity search, when you find those cash cows within the state of Indiana, that for some reason when you click on their business IDs, there's no information available. It takes you back to the search screen. Well, that's within the state of Indiana. So they've made it that it's not public knowledge. Well, why are you hiding it? What secrets are you trying to hide? But then you can clearly, type in a mom and pop business name and all the info is there. All the paper trail is there. You can click on all their filings, even though it's all been converted to electronic. So why is it those cash cows in the RV industry are silenced and secret and hiding? I just heard a little gem. They got meth labs on the premises at some of those RV plants. Now, I don't know how that's working out since it's illegal. But if the corruption is as deep as the law enforcement, well, then they're going to turn a blind eye and probably get a payout. I don't know. I'm just throwing some ideas that trickle around in my head, roll around like marbles. And then what do you suppose they do with those drug busts? Where they properly dispose of them, or they are conveniently come up missing, stolen, never to be found. Where's all that? Where's all that and all that money? I mean, they certainly didn't take all those revenues and beautifying the state of Indiana, cleanliness next to godliness, or I wouldn't have saw tumbleweeds when I drove in that said, "Welcome to Indiana." Well, I didn't actually see them, but you might as well have. With the grass growing so tall, like it was abandoned, a ghost town. So when you wake up in pain, you take your blood pressure, it's 154/99. You just look at it and you go, "Yep, that goes with the pain I'm having. All right, let's see what I can do to minimize it." So I've got a heating pad up under my arm. I had it on high, but it got too hot. With pressure, a weighted neck thing on top of that to add pressure. Like I said, you go to a massage therapist, what they do when you get a knot, they just keep pushing, pushing, pushing. It's going to hurt. And you just sit there and wait. And then all of a sudden, there's no more pain in that spot. And if it's moved, they move to that area and they push, 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 push. And eventually, that knot might be worked out, or you might have to go a couple more times. But at least you know where the source is of that pain in your body. So to see the town that you grew up in and love, because it was a city with a heart, it makes you want to fight, because not everyone that lives in the city with a heart lives in the dark. They too are walking in sunshine every day, and they're walking in his light, holding his hand. We are the ones that have to gather together to fight this corruption within our beloved suburb of Sin City. We have to bring the truth out. You know, watching Harvard, I believe it was Harvard, Stanford, no, Stanford, Harvard. Stanford's study, they set up a pseudo prison, and they had 24 volunteers that they paid them $15 a day. I believe that's right. 15. It was not enough. 15, 30. I can't remember the exact. I'll just Google it for the exact particulars. But anyway, barely paid anything for what they endured. And they had to cut the study short because the power that was given to those students as guards was harming those students that were acting as prisoners, the mental capacities. What do you think? Outside of the rules and regulations they're supposed to be following are happening in the law enforcement field across the board with the power they've been given. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. All you have to do is walk in the light. Once you start walking in the light and enforce it with reading the Bible, it's eyes wide open. You break free of those chains. You free your mind. You turn off that idiot box. And you see it all exactly how he wants you to see it. Just like when I went to visit my mother on Mother's Day 2 years ago. Poetic justice is the way I look at it. And the icing of the cake was when I saw that friend that was a sheriff. Well, I thought he was a friend. Beware of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Ran for cover. I've been known the smartest person to many people that I've met. And how I earned that title was because I have constantly been educating myself my entire life. Oh, I've got 2 college degrees under my belt of truth. So I played the game long enough. Flip the switch. Saving my electricity. As they keep increasing the power with which they hold. Unfortunately, they're deceived by that dang devil into thinking they're going to persevere past him. Oh, there may be some lives along the way that are lost. But let's just be honest. Have you read about Noah's Ark? He rules the roost, and that's just the facts of life. And it's written in the book of life. BOKE. So it's your choice to live in the dark, chained up, shackled in your brain, tunnel vision thought, where you too can diagnose the next person because you've done your research. Well, at least that's what people want to tell me. They've done their research about my medical. Well, I'm glad you know more about my body than I do, but thank you for your input. But how about I just take care of myself and you take care of yourself? The number of people that have told me what I need to do with my body is, I've lost count of. And oh yeah, let's go to another Jack the Ripper of a doctor. No thanks. I was blessed with Dr. Peachin in Goshen, Indiana, that with a witness in the examination room said you cannot take pharmaceuticals. I support your journey with holistic. Now that's a licensed MD. And I've had tons, I've got 7 neurologists that I've blazed through till I got the right one. With Dr. Lonnie Herman. It's just amazing when you blaze through a trail to Jesus, for Jesus, under God, how he makes your path straight. I continue filling up my lamp oil daily. And that to me is a gift. Every day that he wakes me up. Take the time to take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror. And without using excuses or man's diagnosis or titles, look in the mirror and make a decision under God of what you need to be doing for your body. What would God be telling you to do? Don't let those outside darkness set in. No negativity. If you're going down a negative path, well, you need to silence that nonsense right now. Because he lives in the positive light. He don't live in the darkness. Because he lights up the darkness with the moon and the stars. It's a whole different ballgame when you're on the narrow road. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to tell you, every day he wakes you up, there's a permanent smile on your face. You may have your heart broken along the way, but it's different when you're on this side. You heal a lot faster, and you go, well, it's your choice. I can't make it for you. I can only teach. Anything else is a complete waste of my time because I work for him. And that's where Anybody that wants to throw stones is missing the beat. Because what you know and what I know are not the same. Because I've done my homework. And I continue to do it every single day as he sends me another message that trickles off of another message to form this amazing puzzle. Just like my scribble art. I did another one that I'm not done with yet. And it's me going to heaven. I can't. And I'm just doing this. And all of a sudden I'm seeing stuff in front of me appear. So when I do, I just kind of embellish it. I feel like I'm tracing something. It's almost like the trees in the forest that have life, that if you really study the bark, there's messages in them. And every tree that's been processed has life to it. And what if that life, when you can see life in a different light, comes to life on that blank canvas? And to me, that's what's happening with my scribble art. I start doing this, and it's almost like years ago when you'd put something of texture underneath a paper, and you go like this on top of it, and you go, oh, look, I just made an imprint. That's kind of how I feel with my scribble art, that each sheet of paper has a story to tell. After years of being a tree. It's just unreal. The freedom you feel when you say lights out to the darkness of man's world. Lights out to that freaking idiot box, aka the boob tube or television, whatever you want to call it. Not being shackled to that cell phone that, once turned off, wants to turn itself back on. No thanks. I don't need to live in a life where AI is ruling the roost, with man pulling the puppet strings on the next elected official that they put in office. No thanks. Or another dirty attorney that invites battered women into his bedroom to pick up their paperwork. They feel obligated to do personal favors for him. That's not pro bono work to me. Not in my book. Not in his either. The world has gotten out of hand. And we have to join together in the light. His light. Our Creator's light. To make a difference in this world. And we do it with love. Unconditional love of thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others. When did your heart become hardened? Go back and visit that day and start healing today from those wounds you've been carrying and living in the past with all of these years in dark. Break free of your past and look at it in a different light. Look at your life like you're studying it and see it for what it really is. See it for how others see it. But you want to go run and hide in your secret hiding place because that's the place you feel safe. And then you can get on your computer or your phone and start click, 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 click at the keys. Because it's easy to hide behind the screen. It's easy to hide. I'm not about easy. Life isn't easy. And if you can't look the person in the face, then you've got a lot more work to go on your narrow road to heaven. If that's your destination. Now, if you're happy with your path and you're willing to accept the error of your ways and go to hell, well, then that's your choice. But don't think you're going to drag me along with you. I didn't understand the magnitude of the darkness that I was living in until I moved to the Florida Keys and saw the light, even though there was darkness there as well. And then when I saw Marathon was the heart of the Florida Keys, I understood. And then I just keep uncovering things left and right. I mean, Heath bars, $175,000 worth in 1971, I believe it was. No, not 1971, 1942. $175,000. Which equated to 3.5 million candy bars. I knew this. I knew how this horse and pony show was going to pan out. When you see soy lectin on a label, you need to look at it for what it is. Sludge. Do you want to put sludge in your body? No, I don't either. It makes me sick that they've collected things like little treasures. And then they've taken these little treasures and added poison to them. And then, after you've worked so hard for a living in their world, you're buying poison to make your family sick. Isn't that a nice tyrant regime? That'd be a no. Those are some evil people. That need their nutsacks cinched up. That's my personal favorite. I think he deserved it after what they did to him. But hey, that's just me. So as you carry your cross through this world, are you willing to sacrifice your life for the sins of the world? I am. And there's more of us out there. Nothing surprises me in this world anymore. Nothing. I just shed some tears along the way as I uncover more truths on this journey home to supper as recess continues on another bonus day. Left all bunches and bunches.